Today, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing now that the market has had a correction. I'm going to tell you the coins I'm buying, where I'm buying them, and also where I think Bitcoin goes from here. I also think it's possible a lot of you end up leaving crypto in the next few months. Watch this video to the end and I'll explain why. But remember, before we start, nothing in this video is financial advice. The losers of this market are the people who never think for themselves. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying I can already smell a bit of fear in the markets, which is good. Bitcoin seems to be having a pretty normal correction, profit taking after a huge run up. In fact, last cycle, Bitcoin actually spent 21 days and 52 days under the previous all-time high zone before it started pumping. It's actually altcoins that have the biggest problem. The reason altcoins are doing so shit is because all of these Solana meme coins drained all the liquidity and of course Solana pumping itself. So if you've been wondering why your altcoin has been so weak, it's because people are selling them to buy Solana to send to people in pre-sales and buying Solana memes. And this is exactly what I talked about in my sell now video, which is gone. One of the things I mentioned is meme coin bubbles have nuclear fallout when they pop, like it is right now. And that fallout will spread to your good, fundamentally strong coins. Sometimes in crypto, we have to pay for the sins of other people, but that's just the nature of the game. Now, don't interpret that as me saying this cycle's top and it's over. Absolutely not. But if you just gotten recently back into this market, then watch this video to the end because I've got an important message for you. Now, in this last video I made, I said meme coins pumping didn't particularly concern me too much. But in just a few days, I ended up changing my mind and started selling some things to raise cash to buy a potential correction. And this is a skill you need in this market. You need to have the ability to change your bias and perception really quickly. Because all it took was 2, 3, 4 days and things got really frothy really fast. The reason I changed my mind was I've always said I look to see what people are doing with their money to give me an indication of where we are in the cycle. And this Solana pre-sale meta that popped up was the dumbest I've seen in the market since 2021. So a key takeaway and learning point you need to remember is memes pumping doesn't automatically mean that the market is going to nuke, but rather when it gets really excessive and you see things like this, then it's a good indicator. So I want you guys to treat this as kind of training for the real final leg of this cycle whenever it does come. When you have to sell, you'll only get a few days, so you really have to be on top of your game. Now, if you've got some cash like me, I'm going to tell you the levels that I'm going to be buying at and what coins I'm buying. If you're already all in, your task at this point is just make sure you don't get shaken out. But before I get into the technical analysis, I want to say that you should absolutely not be scared and panic selling here. I bet you right now, all these influencers who were shilling you meme coins last week are going to be talking about how bad the market looks and how we could go to lower levels. Influencers can only do two things. One, they'll react to the color of the candles and based on that tell you it's going higher or lower. Or second, in bull markets, they tell you to buy every dip blindly and they continue telling you to do that all the way into a bear market. So you really can't be relying on anyone to tell you when you should be buying and when you should be selling, not even me. With that being said, here is my outlook for the market. So I think the first key levels to bid for Bitcoin is the H4 200 EMA. This is extremely powerful support, especially in a bull market. And of course, the 60k round number retest. Buying anywhere under here, if you get a fast nuke, is a good move purely because at least if you buy here, you're likely to get a good bounce up. But on the other hand, if this goes from 72k to 50k in a straight line, that would be pretty insane and I wouldn't expect that to happen. In terms of how aggressively I'm going to be buying over here, I'll let you know in just a couple of minutes. But the first thing I'm going to be doing is keeping an eye on sentiment and seeing how bad it gets. In the Dreams Alpha channel, I'll let you know how bad things are getting as I do my checkups across various social media. So make sure you join now so you don't miss a potentially good buying opportunity. As for the coins I'm buying, the first coin I'm accumulating is Pepe, and a core concept I want you guys to understand is probability. I actually think Pepe has a higher chance of giving a 10x than some of these stronger fundamental coins. Now that might surprise a lot of people, but that's why I honestly think. I think this is the cycle of meme coins and Pepe will be a clear winner. Retail has easy access via Revolut, Binance, etc. The supply distribution is really good and it has low unit bias and it's a meme that everyone already knows. And more importantly, the main thing is it's going to be able to keep attention long term. So in terms of specific levels of where I'm going to be buying Pepe, I'm using Bitcoin as a proxy for all altcoins. So wherever price Pepe is when I think Bitcoin has a chance of bombing is when I'll start buying. The second altcoin is WIF. And I should actually mention Pepe and WIF I'm incorporating as part of my 80% portfolio, which might shock a lot of people. But if you actually look at the market cap, it's not as risky as it seems. I think Pepe and WIF are the Doge and SHIB of this cycle. The biggest risk to any altcoin you hold is in losing attention. And I think these two have a really good chance at keeping attention long term. They're new meme coins with large holder bases and strong communities. I also think if you want to make a lot of money this cycle, you're going to have to be willing to do things others won't in terms of branching out the risk curve. With institutions buying meme coins, I think it's possible in the future that people start viewing meme coins like WIF as serious long-term investments. And in terms of buying, I'm going to be buying WIF at whatever price it lands at when Bitcoin is at its first key support zone, which is 60 to 62k. And for Pepe and WIF, I'm targeting a minimum of a 10 to 20x. Now, if you really don't want to buy meme coins, STX is a really good opportunity at the moment because it has two huge catalysts coming up. The first is the Nakamoto upgrade, which is something these guys have been working on for several years. It basically makes stacks an actually fast Bitcoin layer 2 secured by Bitcoin. So the transactions go from 30 minutes to like 15 seconds, which is incredible. If you have a lot of time, you can probably find some gems on the Stacks ecosystem because it will be like using base chain, but it ties into the Bitcoin narrative. The second reason I like Stacks is you can see the incredible relative strength it has with the rest of the market dipping. When a coin does this, it's an indication that there's a lot of demand for it. And whenever Bitcoin does recover, I expect to see this explode. I'd consider this more as a short-term to medium-term play rather than holding it for a 10 to 20x. Celestia is something I'm also going to be adding to. I think a lot of people will look back at Celestia and think, how did I miss such an obvious play? They raised $110 million, and for context, Solana raised $300 million. Yes, there's some concerns with the dilution and the vesting schedule, but I've already priced that in, and I'm treating it as a more safer play, and from here it should give a nice 70x. At some point in the future, the airdrop meta is going to come back again, and Celestia will dominate again just as it did in January. In a week or so, I'm going to create a 20k portfolio video finally, and that video will give a clearer breakdown in terms of percentage allocations, price targets, and it's basically going to be a full 20k bull market plan, so subscribe if you want to see that video. The last opportunity I want to share with you is Beam. Accumulating the main gaming token, in my opinion, with the greatest tokenomics, you can't really go wrong. The same idea, accumulate when Bitcoin is at 60 to 62k and sell after an 8 to 10x. These coins will probably go much higher than what I sell them for, but that's fine because at that point, I have more than enough money, and greed is what really kills you in a bull market. Also, I would absolutely not buy Solana right now. I think there's a long time until Solana leaves the market again, because this whole huge parabolic move was done by the meme coin mania that we just had. So a ton of people bought Sol to trade Sol memes, buy pre-sales, and most of them probably lost a lot of money and they got burned. So it's going to take a long time for them to heal and try that game again. And until then, Solana should underperform because it's already gone super high and got a ton of weak hands in, which will need rinsing out. So you can understand how it's important to understand the context of the market, why something has run up and why people are buying the token, because that is key information you'll need when deciding when to sell. By the way, I'm saying this as someone who likes Solana. I think it's much better to use than Ethereum. When the next Solana meme season happens, I'm going to post some DJing calls in this channel. So join the Discord and claim this role by clicking on this button. But this is the most important section of this video, which is where I think the market is heading on a longer term time frame and how I'm actually going to be approaching the entries to the coins that I just mentioned. I'm still bullish long term. I don't think we're anywhere close to this cycle's top, and I think you have an incredible opportunity by being here in crypto right now. But I do think there is some need for caution. I think this cycle will be a lot harder to play than previous Bitcoin cycles, mainly because a lot of it is out of sync with the 4-year cycle. For example, breaking the all-time high before the halving, literally no one saw this coming. So when you're in a situation where it's not clear and it's difficult to decide what to do, the best thing to do is limit the amount of moves you make, and keep it simple. So these are the positives and negatives I see for the market at the moment. It's always important to listen to people who show both sides of the picture rather than saying only one outcome can happen. So based on this information, I think the most likely outcome is we just chop for a really long time and the market becomes extremely boring like it did in summer 2023. Now, if Bitcoin chops, two things can happen. One is we get a final blast alt season where all of our coins really rally and go up. Or we just got the alt season and it was all in Solana meme coins, aka the worst alt season of all time. And the real one comes much later down the line in like 2025. In that case, I expect altcoins to just slowly chop and bleed for a bit and do nothing. Remember at the start of the video I said, if you're new, wait to the end. And this is particularly why, because you don't want to be that person that stops paying attention to crypto as prices stall and stop going up. I'm still going to be uploading every week, telling you coins I'm accumulating and gems I'm buying. This boring period like we had in summer 2023 is actually the bad news part that I was talking about in the title. The bad news is you're probably going to get bored out of your mind. Let's hope that we get this final alt season rotation into coins that aren't meme coins. But that's also the reason why I said I'm not going to be using all of my cash to buy at 60k straight away. I'll probably enter 1/3 at 60 to 62k and then time-based DCA 1/3 starting today. And also keep 1/3 if you get any nasty surprises lower to like 50k. The reason I'm employing this strategy is because whether we go up, whether we chop or whether we go down, I'll be prepared for every scenario. And in crypto, it's your emotions that really cause you to make mistakes. So I want to make sure that I'm hedged for every scenario. Only if I see a real leg down like this and I see mass panic and the criteria of buying that I mentioned in this video, which talks about how to buy in a bull market, if that's met, I'll make a video telling you that I'm going to be deploying the rest of my cash instantly. So to summarize this video, I think we're now starting to get some finally good prices. I'm going to DCA in, but I'm also going to be patient with how I do it. I'm still really bullish long term. But in terms of how aggressive you should be when buying these dips, it's entirely dependent upon how much cash you have. If I had 50% or more cash, I'd definitely be using days like this to buy. Join the Discord and use the portfolio strategy channel and ask others in there or me what they think of your portfolio and give some feedback.